Con Ed group, and I said, you know, I have one hive that beards and one hive that's just washboarding. This is the hive that's washboarding. Just, they never go back in. And they're chewing the paint off of my front porch in some areas. And they don't go back in. They're just hanging out outside.
And did you do mite checks on this one?
Yeah, this one was also less than 1%. So maybe you can tell me if they're crowded, if you feel like they're crowded. It's been a little over 2 weeks since I've been... No. Sorry. Goodness gracious, ladies. You guys have propolised this really well. Good job. Woo-wee.
Found the beetle jail.
Yeah, they have... Yes. Yeah, this one does have a lot of beetles in it. See the rubber?
Yeah.
They make little places inside the crack of the follower board on the rubber. You know what I do? The bees don't really like this that much, but I actually shake it and then I just go like this.
Yeah.
And yeah. And get them in the oil trays. And then I spend time just getting them to go in.
Yeah, there was actually on the Master Beekeeper WhatsApp, there was a description from a guy in Missouri that he's had to do this twice because he's had such bad beetle problems. And what he does is he takes a bin that's about as big as a queen excluder, just like a small, and he fills it up with warm, soapy water. And then he cross hatches 2 queen excluders, so one, 90 degrees, so they're like a checkerboard. And then he goes into the colony, he finds, he starts taking bees off the frames. And he just kind of...
It's been that bad.
Yeah, and he shakes them, shakes the bees over there. Now when he gets the queen, that's her purpose, so she doesn't. But he's just shaking the bees, and then the beetles fall through, and then he bumps the frames after the bees are off to knock the other beetles in. And he said he just gets hundreds and hundreds of beetles that way. And he said so far he did it, the queens have survived and the colonies have survived it. But he said, they just got so bad that he just felt like that was his only recourse, was to
do that.
Basically dump the bees in,
right?
So that the beetles would take a swim, and then of course that kills the beetles just like it would kill the bees. But the double queen excluder apparently is enough even for the workers
to not directly go in.
They can kind of like step on it and not fall in. So there's some nice honey frames.
Yeah, all the ladies have really followed through with honey on the side, brood near the door.
Yeah.
Very textbook.
Very traditional.
Yeah.
Not doing a lot of weird stuff.
Nope. Yeah, they're doing good.
Well, to a certain extent, that should give you some comfort level about their health quotient, because if they have enough virus level to impact then it impacts their ability to kind of understand all that stuff, like how division of labor should work, and just like, what is my job?
Right.
So if they're...
And how should we organize this?
Right.
And
so if they're sick, like, it's just, whatever. Like, they don't really seem to follow the right plan.
They'll do whatever.
Yeah. So when you're kind of evaluating, one of the things that you always want to make notes about is, are these bees, following the plan? Now, genetically, I will tell you that some bees don't, even if they're not sick. But it is a very good indicator.
Okay.
Of, are these bees sick or are they healthy? And so I think that's one of the things that you should watch.
A good sign, a good thing to read.
Alright, so we're getting into the brood area. Do you have a cover for me?
Yes, I do.
Cover all these ones.
Absolutely.
So this one they made super fat.
Yeah.
Let's looks like one of my frames from mating nukes. They're putting so much of that honeydew in now that they're just filling the tops up real thin.
Yeah. And I haven't been in this colony for a little over 2 weeks at this point.
Well, they have probably 6 or 8 frames of food, which would be enough for winter, you know,
Okay.
if it was starting to be wintertime, which it's not. But.
And some of them were the feed frames. I did take some honey from them.
Oh, you did?
And then I gave them back the spring frames.
Oh, you did? That's good.
Yeah.
Let's start that over here.
Where are you at?
Yeah, I'm my left
Lady,
Smoke it.
lady, what are you doing?
You need to smoke it or they're going to stick.
Okay. No.
Alright, so this one, you can see a fairly spotty pattern. I don't see eggs in these open cells.
Still drones. I see drones in there. So this is a new one that I put in there. And obviously, and they just didn't build where the strip hits.
They seem to be backfilling the brood area pretty quickly.
Okay.
So they may not be letting her get back in here. Or she's not being very timely.
They're a little zesty.
Oh, they're getting a little handsy here. Alright, let's go ahead and cover these girls. I'm going to go after this other frame that doesn't have the breath. There's some beetles hiding in that little hole.
Yeah.
So these bees are obviously moving around quicker. That can be genetic, but it's definitely not lethargic. So, you know, we can't really say, okay, well, do I have a lethargy problem?
Right.
They're moving around pretty quick.
Okay.
So I think that's a
good sign.
Yeah, a sign that they're being active and not waiting around. But it also may be why the difference that we saw between the first hive, which didn't seem to be plugging up the nurses or the queen spaces, and this hive that seems to be maybe a little more Johnny on the spot. And remember, they don't have a shutoff for the nectar, so that, you know, you would think that they would understand, wow, it's really important that we have a lot of brood.
Yeah.
But somehow they just, you know, winter's coming, and, you know, like it was in the 50s last night, you know, they're switching. There's some pollen on that girl.
Yeah, I see her. Oh, they're festooning on there. Or hanging off.
Right, what are you guys doing? See, that's almost all nectar and pollen.
That's another frame, though, that was new and I put in, and they just didn't build on the... Well, they kind of are. It was a little bit. They touched it a little bit.
Yeah, they just aren't really giving her time, probably. I mean, there's some open cells in here.
Yeah.
I just don't see that she's...
It's hard to see on white.
And I mean, she should be able to manage probably 6 or 7 frames. And we're down to maybe 5. 4.
Okay.
So we really haven't seen a lot of brood. You know, we've seen a few spotty broods here and there, but not much.
Okay.
Like, I would have expected to see some full frames of brood by now.
Okay.
And there's plenty of bees. I don't see a lot of young bees, though. So I don't see a lot of fuzzy bees. And they shouldn't be on a frame like this because there's nothing here for them.
Right.
There's no brood for them to take care of. And they may be on these frames we skipped. These full frames. Actually, let's put this one on the hanger.
Right here.
So, I don't remember which one that is. It's between these two. Let's pull one of these out. And just see if we're missing it, because, like you said, those are newer checkerboarded frames. And maybe we're just missing all the action.
Do you feel like they're crowded?
They don't appear to be crowded to me.
Okay, good. There's a little bit of brood on this side.
There's a lot of brood there. So she kind of seems to be skipping those. And it's interesting because there are open cells, but maybe they're just not polishing them. Maybe they're just planning on putting stores in, so they're not really prepping those for her because she's got all kinds of larvae in here.
Yeah, okay. There's a queen cup. There's a couple of queen cups.
Yeah, I'm sure those are pretty serious to me.
Yeah, I think when I was out here on Thursday, I think most, if not all, of the other colonies had queen cups and they weren't charged. It was almost like they had them.
Yeah.
Did she get you on your leg?
No.
Okay.
She was just on my leg, and I decided that to have her stay there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've got larvae of most ages here. I haven't seen eggs yet, but
okay.
Pretty sure she's in here.
Do you want to look at another frame?
Yeah, let's look at this next one.
Because what I'm most concerned about is, like, if I'm going to requeen or if I need to requeen, I should do it soon. Right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
We're kind of coming down to the fall time, and I don't want to be dealing with queen issues.
Yeah, I don't.
Lady, what are you doing?
The pattern looks pretty nice here.
Okay, so it's on the frames that are built out, it's decent brood patterns. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they just, for whatever reason, when they were building out those checkerboard frames, the workers decided, we'll just... It's interesting. I think as the temperatures cool off, they might change that because they might decide it's more efficient for them to have the brood all together.
I don't see any brood.
They
well, there's some brood.
Wet stores. I think this is going to have a lot of open stuff on.
Okay. Looks like an emerging frame. Yeah.
I see young babies. Yeah.
You see eggs?
Milk brood. I'm sure there's some eggs in the corner here. It's a little shady to see the
here.
Eggs, all the way down to like the tiniest little yardy.
I got a flashlight if you need it.
Oops. Yeah, that's what I was trying not to do. They are backfilling a little bit with some nectar, but not a ton. Oh yeah, there's some eggs.
You see eggs? Okay, good. Yay!
So she's in here. That next frame looks like it's probably brood based on the cover.
I see some ladies with pollen baskets on that one.
Alright, so this looks pretty good when we take into account, just on those couple frames, there's probably 8,000 to 10,000 brood, and then, I'm assuming that we're going to see similar things on these few frames.
Usually
here.
the very last frame, they keep as resource. They don't really put...
And some of that's for insulation. It just helps keep it warm.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Alright, let's go ahead and put that frame back in. Yeah, so I can't really see a direct reason why they would be washboarding or bearding or anything. I think it's one of the reasons we still don't really understand the whole washboarding thing.
Okay.
Because in as much as you can say, well, it generally happens in the summer, so it has to have something to do with temperature. But then you have a situation like this where you have a cooler hive with a good population, but, not like, you don't look at it and say, oh, okay, well, that's why they're, because there's just so much going on in here. Like, they're not boiling out.
Okay.
Oops, sorry, girl. They're, it's full, but it's not overfilling.
Okay, so it's a natural, it's like...
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, we just don't... It seems to be a natural activity. It doesn't seem to be because of something bad.
Okay.
I think it has something to do with temperature, because it does happen in the summer. But it would make sense it wouldn't happen in the winter, because, we're not going to hang outside when it's cold.
I know.
So you can see some arc wing here.
Oh, where? Oh, that lady tucked her
like these couple girls. There's a couple over here that are roaming around with their wings out. Not too bad. I mean, it's very typical.
Okay.
I haven't seen a lot of black tips.
Okay.
The thing is, it depends on the timing, because if you have this population of mice, just like with the beetles, and all of a sudden there's like 2 of those big frames that become where emerging bees are coming out and she's laying eggs, and then all these varroa happen to come out off of a couple other frames and they jump into those ones. Well, once the cappings go down, you're not going to measure all that. So like you could have, if you tested a week before, you might have had 10 mites, and then you test a week later and you got 1.
Yeah.
Well, because they just got out of the cappings,
Right.
And in theory, every day more mites are coming out, so you could argue that, well, but every day there's ones coming out and there's ones going in. But it depends on how that population curve is going, because the ones that went in 12 days earlier, the population was here, but now the population is here, so that many more went under in this timeline. And so you can kind of under-calculate just from running the test.
Yeah.
And I just said, it's just probably best practice in August to go ahead and do fumigation, just because you want to hit them pretty hard, because they're getting ready to put in all their winter brood.
Right.
And the last thing you want to do is have, viruses in your colony when they're trying to put in winter brood. So.
This is my frame that's always the drama frame. Actually, I think I see a queen cup on it.
Oh, yeah.
They seem to like this frame in particular, because we marked it last year because it was the frame we put eggs in when we had queen problems. About this time we were requeening her.
So you think this queen is from last August?
No, I've since split. I've done splits since then. Yeah, they're all brand new. All the queens are brand new now.
This queen is fine.
But I just think it's funny because this frame in particular seems to be one of my drama frames.
Even though it's back here in the food area.
They got it fat right here. And they got some brood right there.
Yeah, they got a lot of brood on this frame.
Thick cell. That is a thick cell.
It's old.
Yeah? It's old, okay. And you got some bald brood. A little bit. But that pattern looks good.
That's a nice, dry, tight pattern.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing perforations, so the beetles aren't probably getting in there. Here's a big girl coming out. So these are all going to start popping here in the next day or so. Good.
This one's untouched by the strips, so probably easier to see a little bit better. Looking for eggs. Oh, look, there's a new baby.
Yeah, I didn't see eggs, but I've got the very first instars on here. So she was in here a few days ago.
Okay. So it's like a little bit older larva?
Just probably about 3 days from the eggs.
Okay.
So, it's going to be about 2.
Okay, so that's good. So by the calculations, since you saw eggs in here, there's no way that, and on Thursday is when I got this, so it couldn't have been her that walked up and in. That was
I don't think that's the problem.
Okay.
And the queen, unless she's getting mated or she's swarming, right? She's not in a place where plus we saw no evidence of any queen cells, and we would already see like a lot of queen
we would
cells.
see, okay. Okay.
Around the fringes there, like where that really young larva was, because 3 days ago that would have been eggs, so they would have been building queen cells all around there, because that would have been their task, our queen's gone, we're gonna
Okay, so it definitely wasn't her walking up there and building up there.
Thursday,
so I just had some freak swarm. Yeah, I mean, I thought to myself,
it's nice and warm.
Exactly. I was thinking to myself, I can't inspect these ladies, if they stayed. But to their credit, it would have been a great spot, because winter, their heat would have come up and warmed them up, and they would have been great. And
yeah, they're just not removable frames, so technically it's not legal to have them in there.
Yeah.
So you did everything right.
Yeah.
Just, I think they decided
they didn't like it.
That there must have been a better spot, and they just decided
I actually was recording I was recording them bivouacking on the front of the hive yesterday, and they were scout bees, and they were doing their waggle dances. And I said, well, they're not bringing in anything into the hive, so what would they be doing other than finding another location and telling the ladies, hey, let's go somewhere else? Yeah. So I didn't expect them to stay. I thought for sure after I witnessed what I witnessed, I was like, I don't think they're staying. I don't think they're going to stay.
So a couple things that might have kept them staying.
Yes,
One is
give me some tips.
if you would have had another frame of comb.
Okay, and I didn't.
Because if that queen would have started laying eggs, and I know it sounds like they had some eggs in their comb, but if she would have started laying eggs, it probably would have stayed. And then
Okay.
the second thing would be if you would have put 1-to-1 syrup on, because
That's why I was nervous about doing that, because we're entering in a dearth,
Yeah.
and I thought about doing it because I have a lid that has holes cut out for feeding,
Yeah.
but I didn't want them. They were small. They were like less than a football size,
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't want to encourage robbing, so I didn't want to feed them.
Well, these are a little harder to meter. You can't really meter the entrances.
Yeah.
They're closed or they're open. They don't.
Right.
You don't. I tried that one time. Like I kept it not like this, and it just slid down.
Slid,
and the bees
yeah.
got stuck in there, and I was like, and I didn't know for a couple days. And I came out and I was like, oh crap! Like they've been closed in there for a couple days.
Oh,
So you really only have two options. You
Yeah.
know, one is fully open and one is fully closed.
that stinks though. It was such pretty comb.
Sun. Let's see. Yeah, it is.
I didn't see any eggs. If you see some eggs, let me know. But there was definitely some eggs in there when I cut it off the top. And they were fanning. They were fanning, like when I got them in the nuke box, or the box. They were doing their Nasonok gland, and all the ladies were drawn to it since Thursday. So it was Thursday when it happened. But I never saw them bringing pollen in. And I was down here. I would come down here and watch them for a while, and I never saw pollen coming in. So I was like, I don't think they're gonna stay.
Yeah.
So they kind of robbed it out.
Yeah, I think they just said, okay, let's take everything, because we're going to head out.
Right.
Because I think they do that when they abscond. I mean, they don't necessarily take brood, but the eggs will be protein, and they wouldn't waste that. So
Right.
It's not that unusual.
For them to kind of consume
Right,
the
who else do
eggs.
you want to look at?
That was it.